Outside of our studios in Colchester, it was somewhat dry. And then bam, early afternoon. Now our current drought situation, which comes out every Thursday, our drought monitor, most of us still under an abnormally dry situation. But the Northeast Kingdom and Northern New Hampshire back to average. That's great news thanks to all the rain we've been getting this month. Now on a more serious note, Friday afternoon through this upcoming weekend, the National Weather Service has issued a flash flood watch for northern New York and much of Vermont. Talk about a hot, hazy, and humid Thursday. I'll take you outside for a second here thanks to our Twin State Ford Skycam. Friday night into this weekend, that rain continues on and off, heavy at times. Again, when it rains, it pours, and it certainly will do that over this weekend. Saturday right now is trending more wet than your Sunday, so that's the good news for the Wings Over Vermont show happening this weekend in Burlington. The sunset for Tuesday night setting up very peachy, very inviting out there. It's gorgeous, a lot of orangey colors forming. A light northerly breeze kicking out, and temperatures are now falling into the 70s finally. For highs today, we made it well into the 70s for a lot of us, low 80s. 80 in St. Johnsbury, 83 in Burlington, and 82 over in Middlebury. Meanwhile, though, temperatures have cooled off quite a bit. 70 in the capital city, 72 in St. Johnsbury, and 67 in Lebanon, New Hampshire. Future tracker tonight into Wednesday, clouds will be dissipating and fog will be forming in the valley areas by daybreak. We start off Wednesday comfortably in the 50s east of the Greens and low to mid 60s in northern New York and the Champlain Valley. A perfect start to what will be a very warm Wednesday on tap. Clouds will be filtering throughout the day on Wednesday. Can't rule out a high terrain spot shower or two. I would not cancel your hiking plans on Wednesday, but just be aware that these showers can last for maybe 20, 30 minutes. Really nothing too bad to worry about. Temperatures on Wednesday soar well into the 80s, low to mid 80s. For a lot of us, Burlington and Plattsburgh could make a solid run towards the upper 80s Wednesday. Meanwhile, future tracker Wednesday night into Thursday, those clouds will be dissipating. Another gorgeous night setting up on your Wednesday night into Thursday. Thursday, clouds will be bubbling up again. Another quiet and dry day. Can't rule out a spot shower out there on your Thursday. Meanwhile, moving ahead to Friday, because the heat's going to be noticeable. 90 expected for Plattsburgh, 88 in Burlington, 85 over in St. Jay, and 86 in Montpelier. Meanwhile, moving back to Tuesday night, low 60s expected under a partly cloudy sky and patchy fog developing in those valley areas. Timing out your Wednesday in the upper 60s when you're enjoying your fresh cup of coffee. During your lunch break in the low 80s, very warm, pleasantly warm out there. Making a solid run in the mid to upper 80s tomorrow. We're going to be about 5 degrees above our average for this time of year of 81 degrees. Looking ahead on your 7-day, Thursday and Friday, the heat and humidity will be noticeable. Especially on Friday, we make 90 a real possibility. Thursday, we can't rule it out. Friday into Saturday, a cold front comes in, bringing with it showers and isolated thunderstorms, some that could be severe, so you're going to want to be weather aware Friday night into Saturday. And then Sunday is trending drier, right around 80 degrees under a pleasant sky. And then Monday and Tuesday, that continues upper 70s, low 80s under a mostly sunny sky. That's your latest check of your forecast, folks. Enjoy the next few days of heat and humidity before storminess comes back Friday night.
Spring is on the horizon, which means warmer temperatures are coming.
The National Weather Service evaluates the current flood threat every winter and spring for potential flooding. News 7's Tyler Hall explains how the spring flood outlook works each year.
Here's the Sleepers River at the start of March. It's well within its banks. The National Weather Service is constantly monitoring conditions that could affect the river's flow.
An assessment of our snowpack conditions and river ice conditions, and then we take that information and convey it as an outlook for spring flooding, or how much will those two factors contribute to the potential for spring flooding.
They get help from this team, from the U.S. Geological Survey, who are placing an acoustic Doppler current profiler in the Sleepers River. It takes about 15 minutes, and they monitor each river in the state 6 to 8 times a year.
USGS mission is to monitor the water resources. We're a non-regulatory agency. The Weather Service, the National Weather Service, takes the stream gauging information that we collect and does a value added. They do a forecast on what the current conditions are and project what could happen in the days to come.
Hansen says when heavy rainfall occurs, it can lead to flooding, even if there is no snow on the ground.
To keep tabs on the weather, if you're in a flood-prone area, if you're live or travel through an area that sees ice jams, just be aware and know what you're going to do if flooding happens. And the one takeaway is do not drive through flooded roads.
During February and March, flood outlook briefings are held around the state for local and regional officials. They suggest people who live in flood-prone areas prepare to be stranded and without power for a couple days.
Prepare to be homebound for a couple of days by having what we call an emergency preparedness kit, but that's basically extra water, extra canned goods, battery-powered radio, can opener, maybe some over-the-counter medications, things that you'll need should you not be able to leave your home for a couple of days and you've lost power or other utility services.
If you do leave your home, officials say be extra cautious in your car when flooding is underway.
Well, most of the flood deaths actually occur in people in automobiles where people are get caught up in floods, or they try to drive into water that they don't realize is as deep as it is, or the water's flowing more quickly. It really doesn't take very much flowing water to move a car off the road, and then you're in big trouble.
When Tropical Storm Irene hit Vermont back in August 2011, 3 people died. The latest Weather Service flood outlook says the Northeast Kingdom is above normal due to the snowpack, a snowpack that will get deeper with this week's nor'easter. Tyler Hall, News 7, at the banks of the Passumpsic River in St. Johnsbury Center.
The next winter and spring flood potential outlook will be issued on Thursday. This is also Flood Safety Awareness Week, designed to help prepare for the upcoming spring melt whenever that finally happens.
As the weather gets to be consistently warmer after such a long winter season in Vermont, new concerns are raised as far as potential danger to our environment. That danger is in the form of wildfire or brush fire, and News 7's Tyler Hall explains what you need to know as far as planning for such an occurrence.
Peak fire weather season in Vermont is during the months of April and May. That according to the National Weather Service.
This time period, what we call pre-green up, and that's when you don't have any leaves on the trees and you're basically just dealing with all of the dead material that's on the ground, whether that be grass, twigs, branches. Think about all the leaves in the fall when the leaves fall off the trees, how they just kind of die out and they lay on the ground. And when you have these days of full sunshine, that helps to dry those fuels out.
During this pre-green up season, 73% of fires occur during April and May. Before considering to burn your brush, it's best if you
make sure you call and get a permit so we can either say yes or no, it's safe to burn, because if the conditions are so poor, we won't allow anyone to burn in town. So certainly make the call to have a permit first before you go start a brush fire, because it could not be safe.
Just make sure that if you do intend to burn, make sure you can actually control the burn pile that you're burning. Don't use anything, flammable or petroleum-based to start it. Everything has to be natural materials that are getting burned.
As far as the size of a potential wildfire or brush fire, 91% of the fires are of 5 acres or less in Vermont. Meanwhile, the most common cause of fires is burning debris at 51%.
Don't hesitate to call the fire department if you sense that it's getting out of your control. Don't sit there and think, well, I can probably get a handle on it, and then suddenly it's 2 or 3 times the size of what it started out, and then the fire department has a pretty good chore at hand.
Between the years of 1991 to 2001, there was 189 reported fires in Caledonia County. Tyler Hall, News 7.
Looking across the Passumpsic River in New Hampshire, town meeting day will be 1 week, and residents are already gearing up and voting towards school and town-related issues.
Littleton, New Hampshire will hold their annual town meeting day at the Littleton Highway Garage. And as far as the school end of things for Littleton is concerned, the proposed school budget is down due to significant cuts and readjustments that needed to be made going into this year. These cuts of approximately $300,000 were made because Littleton experienced a dramatic increase in taxes and overall tax rates going into the current year.
Actually talking about two very important things to most people, their children and their livelihoods. So it's been an interesting process, and I think that the citizens of Littleton and the town of Littleton will, as they have always, will do a great job with this particular election.
The voters of Littleton will have the opportunity this year to cast their votes towards school and town-related issues for town meeting day next Tuesday, March 14th at the Littleton Highway Garage.